Good evening and welcome to the Simply Colorful Fibercast. Today's date is September 18th, 2020. My name is Lynn Marquidant and I'm your host. Welcome to clue number 3 of our envelope mystery quilt here at simplycolorful.com. Welcome. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've had a good week. I hope everyone is safe and healthy and getting by. Because as we all know, we are in a marathon. And this is a scrap quilt that I should just say is going to be quite the achievement. So for those of you who are playing along, good job, good on you. And we're going to jump right into clue 3. I have a couple of demonstrations to do, and then I have some tips for what to be thinking about for next week. So if you have any questions, post them on the live chat here on YouTube or send them to me at lynn@simplycolorful.com and I will read my email. So first, this clue number 3. Again, this is a scrappy quilt. First, we're going to make black and white houses. And the key is, oops. And these aren't the best examples. I really have a hard time. It's all about value, right? And using value to create contrast. So what we want to do is we're making a total of 7 houses. And this is all on the Simply Colorful Mystery Quilt Along Facebook group or on simplycolorful.com. So this is free, this pattern. So I'm just reading from it. We need 3 houses that are black and white with a light blue sky. We need 2 houses with a medium blue sky, and for now I'm calling this medium blue. And then dark blue, we need 2 more. So I have one more really dark blue one to make. And I wanted to show you here, you can use embroidery to make things pop. So you may have noticed that this fabric didn't pop against the blue. So I did a white embroidery line on either side of it. And it helps it stick out a little. Same thing here on this one. On the roof, the black didn't stick out well enough against the blue, nor did the trees. So I put a little embroidery outline. Takes a little extra time. It's kind of fun. Do it in front of the TV. And it does, I think it makes a little bit of a difference. But again, this one, definitely you have some contrast between the light and the dark. My sister is very good at this. I always want to throw in something funky and it just never quite executes quite well. But anyway, let's make one of those and then we'll make a tree. And I want to show you how to use crumbs to make a green tree. And then we'll finish out with the worm. Does that sound good? I think that's about, oh, and the mountains, I'm not going to make one, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So it's a busy clue. Let's get started. In the pattern, and yes, I'm using paper piecing again. Sorry about that, Sue and team, and those of you. This is heavy on paper piecing, I realized. This quilt. And I realized it's because that seems to be what I'm into with these scraps. I don't have to measure anything. So first, and I did pull out my fabrics ahead of time. So let's move the greens away. We don't need those yet. And again, these are black and white houses. So I found, isn't this a cool fabric in my stash? Goes from light, dark black to light. And I found some caifs, and I need a roof. Oh, and I wanted the dark blue for the background. So I really want it to stand out. So I turn on my light box, which is a wonderful tool. Thank you, KB, for giving it to me. And then I roughly cut my piece that goes over that. Yes, I use a lot of fabric, and I'm trying. In fact, not that this is all scraps, but I'm trying to throw away scraps. Because really, I have 2 buckets. You can't see them here, but the whole room is covered with scraps. Okay. Make sure to put your sewing machine stitch length down to, I do 1.7. Some people do 1.9. Probably anything 2 or under will work. So remember, you're going to sew on this, put your fabric on the other side, right side out. Do your best to line it up. And paper piecing, don't you find, is just one of those things you have to get in your own rhythm. Oh, I don't need that. I was tired of working on my quilt this afternoon, so I made a mask. Sometimes you just need to mix it up, right? Okay. Okay, we're ready to go. Come on. And you can just zip through it. Hi, Carol. I'm doing great. How are you? Nice to see you out there. Oh. So if I had the ruler, the 1/4 inch or the 1/8 inch ruler, I could use that. But you see how rough I do this. Beautiful days here in the Northeast, Carol. I took 2 walks today. I got in my 10,000 steps. In fact, I sent in my card to vote by mail to request my ballot. So that was my second walk. Okay, so there that is, very rough. Turn this on while that's heating up. Okay, I've got my tree. My trees I'm going to do in this funky cafe fabric. Hi, Carol. Oh, good. And Colleen, hello. Okay, very dark. I know Carol's been working. By the time Friday comes, these early days in the new year, you must be exhausted. Or I'm guessing. I think everyone in the schools helping to educate our kids, your heroes. Hi, Linda. Oh, no. The loss of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Oh, no, I didn't know that. Did she just die? Huh. Thank you, Linda. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, geez. Here we go. That's sure to dominate the next media cycle. Oh, I'm so sad. So sorry about that. So I'm doing the 2 tree trunks on the 2 trees. I'm doing the tree trunk. I know it's not a brown, but it's a rust color that I thought looked good against the dark blue. So play with color. This is a great quilt opportunity to, as you're using your scraps, just see what colors you might not have thought to put together. Now see, that looks too red on this, on the computer, but maybe, well, no, that still makes it look red. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Because one color plays off the other and will determine what it looks like, right? And believe me, I am still learning. Okay, so now I'm going to put the top of the tree on. And I just work each piece as quickly as I can. Sometimes I finger press, sometimes I'll trim up and use the iron. I'm excited to get to the tree and using crumbs. Ooh, that is looking pretty, right? That's going to be our tree. And here's our second smaller tree. Okay. Use this. And then you'll notice, like Anne Hayward was showing, she uses long pieces when she does her paper piecing. And I've started to do that too. And it's a good way so you don't have to spend a lot of time cutting down your pieces and then finding out that it's a right triangle instead of a left triangle, or so that it doesn't match. If you give yourself that big piece, sew it on, and then you can cut away. And then you have this one that is already going the right way. You still use a lot of fabric. I do anyway. Oops. And then sometimes when I get here, I do a rough cut of where the tree is going to go. There's that. Anyway, what? Oh, lots of people are out there. Oh, Carol says crumbs. Crumbs are these little pieces of fabric. I think maybe it's a Bonnie Hunter term. I don't know if someone else used it before she did. She's the one I learned it from. I think Deb Linehan has a friend who does crumb scrap quilts. And it really is, we've done it before. We probably haven't called it crumb. Sorry, 2 pieces there. See, I shouldn't even be cutting this. You know what? I should just do this. Use the whole piece, right? And then it saves us a step and probably a little bit of fabric. Have I mentioned how big this quilt is? It is 84 inches by 96 if you do all of the blocks. So I don't know if you've heard. Well, everyone got the envelope who's a patron. And we're going to use those fabrics starting next week. That's a cute little tree. And gee, just lost my train of thought. Shocking. Oh, I know what it is. You don't have to make the whole thing. So the quilt it's a very free form, as you can tell. If each week you want to make just a few of the items, like a few trees and a few mountains and a few, that will work just fine. Because at the end, when we put it all together, oh, and I'm not going to cut it, it will, you can tell your story however you want to tell it. And then we can further embellish it with buttons or ribbon, rickrack, crayons, embroidery. But next week, we're going to use, and I'm going to show everyone what's in the envelope. If anyone who's not a patron has been wondering what's in the envelope, I'm going to show you tonight. And then you can decide, hopefully, to become a patron. Get your very own envelope. We are having fun. Oh, Kathy Klein, if you're out there, one of our newer patrons, I wanted to mention that we've been starting the open sews on Saturdays and Wednesdays, possibly an hour earlier than maybe your daylight savings is accounting for. Just FYI, I wondered about that. We're starting at to figure out. There we go. Like on Saturdays, it's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. So does that mean it's 10 Central in Illinois? That's what I have to check. Anyway, we have fun on the open sews. I don't know where that thought came from, but it came. Have I thanked you all lately for putting up with my thoughts? Okay, so see, I just made the door. And I'm lining it up. I'm going to do the other side. I'm getting there. This is the longer one. Oh, I'm so glad everyone's out there. Amelia down in Victoria, Texas. Hi. Hi, Marquet. I can't believe I just saw your message from July, Marquet. I'm so sorry. Marquet was asking, how can I find out where Fibercast is on Friday nights? And I said, go to YouTube and hit that little button that allows you to get the notifications on YouTube/Simply Colorful. And that should alert you Lee says, I can't wait to try the mountains. Yes, that's where values are going to be key. And we're going to talk about the mountains in just a second. Maybe we'll do that before we do the tree. Ooh, isn't that pretty? This house is on fire. Is Alicia Keys one of the most beautiful singers? Okay, now what I do is I square up my pieces so that I can put them together, and I should show you what I've got. Oh, and I'll get my little board that Leah made for me. That. And you can mix it up. You can put your trees on either side if you want. That's going to be kind of funky, right? So now I'm going to square up the inside seams. And then I'll probably leave it loose until I can stand up at another cutting board. And I cut the end block will measure 6.5. The finished block, the unfinished block will measure 6.5. So what I do is I trim up the inside edges, and then when it's all together, then I can turn it into my 6.5 inch. So on the mountains, there are two different kinds. There's mountain 1 and mountain 2. And you want to make 6 of each. Okay, so there those are. Now I'm going to sew these 3 bottoms together. With this dark blue, I probably Hi, Joyce. Okay. Tearing the paper off is a good thing to do in front of the TV too. So now I have the 2 pieces. Hey, Chris Myers, hello. Hello, hello. Happy Friday. And congratulations on having a really adult daughter who's beautiful. Beautiful inside and out. Okay, so now I've sewn all of the inside seams. And this is a house that's a head-on house. So we don't have to worry about the 3 sides, which I think next week we'll do one that has, I just gave something away, that has 3 sides. And then we'll have to think about light, medium, and dark values on the sides of the house. But for this, there is the house. And I'll trim it up later. Okay. Let's talk about trees and crumbs. also in the clue is a very big tree foundation. You can definitely make it by just cutting triangles. I don't know if I included the instructions for, no, I didn't. I just included paper piecing. You'll have to measure it. Measure the pieces if you want to cut out the pieces and just sew it the old-fashioned way. But I use paper piecing, and here's what I have been doing. I take my pile of greens, which includes like maybe something I've cut off that has two pieces of green together. That's a crumb. And all we're going to do is sew that together with some other crumbs. Like this piece of fabric was in a quilt that I made with flowers for my cousin Heidi 20 years ago. And I still have this piece and I still like it, right? So, but it's too small to use on my tree. So I'm just going to sew it onto this little crumb and make a bigger crumb. You could do that right on this foundation, but I find I haven't needed that. These are probably smaller than I have been using these crumbs because now, for instance, I might take that slightly bigger. Oh, and I probably don't need the 1.7 inch stitch length, but right, so we're sewing those pieces together. You can cut that off. Here's another crumb that I like. I've been using this elsewhere. Oh, let's see if we can find something that's already partially sewn. Does anyone else have this? I will look at these scraps and I get caught up in looking at the scraps. It's a problem. Oh, see? This little piece of cafe, I want to include that because I like it. And you want to also think about values. So let me think. In the trees, let's see, you want so many with different blue backgrounds. Okay, we want 3 trees with the light. So see this, but it gets fuzzy. Like 1, 2, 3, that's kind of light too, but I'm going to call that a medium. I need 3 trees with medium. So I'm going to call medium, medium, medium. And then I need 2 with dark blue. So we're going to make a dark blue. So see how this is a good example, which is kind of surprising to me. I stuck with the lighter greens. So there's a lot of contrast between that and the dark blue. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to say hi to everyone. After the tree, who's out there? Allie, hi. Getting a little faster at it, and I don't have to tear anything out today. Heartbroken over the passing of, oh yeah, RBG today. Aw, Sue. Good, it just takes practice, doesn't it? This paper piecing. Okay, so now that I know it's going to be a very dark background. Ooh, isn't that? Let's see. Let's just get her done. Do we have one? Yeah, I can do this. put this on this side and then my cafe on the other side. Like I say, I'm not great at keeping my values straight. So sometimes one way to get better at it is periodically to sew things together and then take a black and white picture of it. And I bet if we took a black and white picture of it, this green will look darker than the other values. And to tell you the truth, 9 times out of 10, I just leave it. So my quilt will end up it'll have more movement. It might be disconcerting because some things might not stand out and you might wonder what's going on. But like I say, we can use embroidery or crayon or things to trick your eye. It's I guess we're kind of like painting with fabric, right? Not like KB does, but our crumb way. I still am amazed by that sheep you made, KB. I don't know how you do it. See? So, okay. So here we have a group of crumbs sewn together. That should be enough. Now we can put all of the greens aside. And you make a mess. I do anyway. And then I go back to my foundation paper piece and I put it face down on my light board. And I make sure, yep. That I've cut a piece that will cover that triangle. And then I again will use, what do we want? We want a very dark. That's a good one. That is dark. It's got black in it even. Oh, you know what? We're not even going to cut it, right? Didn't we say we were going to do it that way? So I lay it down and I find my edge here and here. This is a unique way of quilting. I'm sorry that I didn't disclose that this would be what this clue would include a lot of. I had a former rug hooking student from, 15 years ago, the early 200s maybe, who took a class when she was in school up at the Cultural Arts Alliance building. And she wants to get back into rug hooking. So I assembled some of the things I have upstairs for her so she can get started. And I have to tell you, I saw my rug hooking supplies and I thought that might be a nice thing to get back into this winter. Maybe after this is done, take a little break. I don't know. Do something different with different fiber. I think Leah has kind of inspired me with all of her. Leah and my mother with their spinning and weaving. So see how it pops when you put the dark against the light. And then you can do all sorts of things with crumbs. For example, you can make a piece of fabric and then cut out a stuffed bear, or you could even use it to make clothing. If you really, or cuffs. Let's say you go to the Five and Dime or the thrift store and you get yourself like we've done before, a denim shirt. And maybe you want to put something on the cuffs or cut off, or you can use crumbs to make binding. I know Sue made a binding for one of her latest quilts with leftover squares. Okay, our tree is coming together. Now, what color are we going to do our trunk? For this one, just going to cut some blue. That can go away. Oh, so many decisions. Let's see. Oh, there's a good one. Although that's a nice crumb. See all those pieces sewn together? I like those pieces. I think that came from my gray modern quilt. Okay, now I forgot about this. And you know what? It's not big enough, so I'm going to use the next couple of pieces. Another thing you could do if you decide you don't want to make all 8 trees or all of mountains, whatever you're making, you can try free-forming things. When I go through here, you can find things that are already sewn together. That could make a nice quick house, right? Or there are even some houses in here that have already been sewn. Like, look at that one. I found that in my scrap pile. That could be retrofitted. In fact, I might just put that in the quilt. So that's the kind of thing you can do, is once you get a framework, you can play with it. Okay. All right, so there's one side of our trunk. Now I have to measure it. Okay. So tempted to say, don't do as I'm doing here. This is really kind of wonky. I should have started with my tree trunk and then sewn my green tree on it. So I should have done the bottom row first, but that's okay. All we're going to do is trim up one side of it, right? And then lay it down. Where it should go. Okay, we're about ready to do the mountains. I hope I haven't lost everyone. KB, I hope you're there. There are paper piecing. 2 different mountain paper piecing. And the key is, so here's the trick. Well, hang on. Let's look at the tree first. You iron it. Plaid. I forget how good plaid looks in a quilt. So there's your tree. And now I similarly will go and square it up to 6.5 inches. So there's our 8th tree. Okay. You're going to end up making 6 of these and 6 of these. And I can tell you that they should fit together, each 2 of them, mountain 1 and mountain 2. The key for doing mountains is to look at a picture online of mountains and see which mountains are darker. I went and looked, and it appears as though the mountains that are up closer to you are darker. And then as they recede in the background, they get lighter and lighter. So I tried to do that on some of these. Let's see. Oh, here are the 2 of the same. And I did something that I thought might work, and it kind of works here. I used 2 different colors for there and there, and here and there. I switched them, actually. On the others, I didn't. I kept it all one. It kind of works. You can do it either way. I mean, it kind of adds more dimension when you do 3 different kinds, but then 3 different greens. But then when it fits together, that looks kind of funny, that triangle, if that made sense. It's kind of going to nowhere. Whereas here, because I made that triangle out of the same green, it fits better. That's about all I have to say about mountains. Have a great time. KB, I can't wait to see what you do. Okay, those are mountains. Then we have browns. Cut out the next part of the clue. So we made houses, trees, and mountains. Now you want to cut 13 brown squares. If you have crumbs, say you don't have pieces this big, use your crumbs and make a 6.5 inch by 6.5 inch square. That would be really interesting. You'll notice when we're talking value, how this one stands out. If I were really disciplined, I would probably take that away and put in another brown that's more of the same value. But I like this because it has mushrooms. And I think it'll add some whimsy. Maybe I'll find some others. So for now, I'm keeping it. And the final block, which will be a 14th block. So Joyce, just like with the clouds and the sun, on the light blue fabric, you have to cut out extra blues for those. So you cut out 9 of them, put those aside. And see the top here? They'll form, you want 14 across. Similarly, you need another brown to put your worm on. And the only thing I had left to do on the worm, in the clue, you have a worm, right? And it has an inchworm. And I got it all discombobulated. You know, if it really matters which way certain things are, like I think it's incisor that cuts through the dirt is on its head. But I'm wondering if maybe that isn't the way it is. Or is it? No, actually. But why would the cilia be on top? Its little feet. So anyway, this is just playland. You don't have to make them exactly. Aw, thank you, Marquet. Hi, Lynn. Got busy and didn't realize how late it was. Oh, hi. Hi, Angela. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Okay. So the only thing left here is to draw the inchworm pieces on my white. And I was going to take a pencil and do it. And then, actually, what am I going to do? Oh, the pencil will work. And then I won't do it tonight, but I'm just going to embroider those last segments. I don't know if you can see that. So that's your worm. Is that it? So we made houses. I think that is it for this clue. So the only other thing I wanted to do was open the envelope and ask everyone to start thinking this week as you're working on these. Hi, Mom. You're welcome, Joyce. Is while you're working on these clues, as you're going through your scraps, be looking for animation. And we've talked about this a little bit on our past houses, how you can put animals, and I love seeing what you're posting online. I love seeing the pink houses with cats or with dogs or people, or Joyce, I hope I'm not doing a spoiler alert. She has Elvis is in the house. While you're going through your scraps, be looking for animation and pull it aside. You're gonna use more of those in the coming weeks, which brings me to the envelope. Again, if anyone out there wants to play, become a patron for $2 a month. 2, 3, 4, 5. Support the show, support the Zoom license and the web license, and get access to the clues early, and come to the open sews, which we do two times a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays. And get a $20 off coupon for quilting, which we'll talk about quilting. And then this is what was in the envelope. It was some of these animated pieces. I don't know if you can see that. And we will be using these like kitties in upcoming clues. This one, I love the couture. Oh, this is always fun. Charlie Brown. Lucy holding the football for Charlie, and then she pulls it up. That's really so mean to do. Oh, a poodle tail. Well, that's always good to know. I tried to give people enough so that, like here, you could see the pug's face. So at least you can get something there that's usable. Oh, this is cute. Isn't that cute? So that's your envelope. Open it on up. Be getting ready to use those pieces, or you can already use them. And keep your eye open for other whimsical fabric. If you ever made an I Spy quilt, this is a great time to pull out those scraps. Scissors. Here are some hot air balloons. So Leah, I thought of you with this hot air balloon and the kite. Oh, this one I loved. Is this Lorelei? I love those. She's so great. And some cafe that's not really animated, but it's very pretty. Here's a basketball. This is kind of neat. Some plates, baseball, football, soccer, golf. Oh, this one's fun. I'm sure you'll recognize these. Remember these guys? The cats on the motorcycle. Oh, Carol says, are you cutting on your light box? Yes, and I have a cutting mat on top. My sister gave me this wonderful tool, and the cutting mat comes with it on top. Yeah. Good question. I'm getting pop-ups here. I just want to make sure I say hi to everyone. Anatomically correct worms. Who knew? Oh, I love this one. The surfboards. So just, oh, and then like decoys. Mom, do you like those decoys? You see those? Goose. Christmas. A butterfly. That might come in useful. Oh, this is cool. This is such small motif. Like the kites. That'll come in handy. So I think you get the idea. Oh, some branch. Is it Lauren Branch? Her cats and dogs. Oh, this one was fun. And then I think we're coming up on it's time to. Isn't that fun? Doggies. Hoo-hoo. Oh, this one. I'm going to include this one. See, she's in the window. So, oh, and a leopard. Anyway, I hope you're having fun. I know I am. I know it's a lot of work. Again, you don't have to make all of the blocks that I'm suggesting. I know many of you are still working, and believe me, there are days when I'm thinking I am missing some part-time work. So who knows what I'll do, but that's another topic for next week maybe, or the week after. But for now, be safe and do something you like. Do something you're good at. Usually, oftentimes, they're one and the same, and do something for someone else. I've been seeing that all around, and it just, not only does it make the person you're doing something for feel good, it makes you feel good. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Oh, and TG Bob, if you're out there, hi.